Yo, I was gonna do this video for my series Monetize Your Haters, but I'm not gonna even call this guy a hater because that would be, I guess, it wouldn't be a proper assessment. But this does point out something that I said. A lot of folks who reach the same conclusion as I am, or people that are against the social justice nonsense, ideologically, and especially with the recent infiltration when it comes to comics. I'm not sure why the puppy dog wants to be in the video. Nonetheless, and for whatever reason, this is controversial. We've done a couple of streams on this where when I say that, people act like, oh, just start fucking pearl clutching and just foaming at the mouth, losing a mind, going crazy at the idea that there are people that may align with someone, such as myself, but jump on waves and aren't really properly criticizing the nonsense that we see. In other words, they are adopting the same message, or not necessarily, not the same message, excuse me. They are adopting the same tactic as a lot of SJWs do when it comes to when they criticize media. That is, they find racism, they find sexism, they find all of these different things in media where it doesn't exist. Unfortunately, it just happens with countercultures where you have some people that are on the other side of things that sort of become what they hate. Now, where you're at with that, who's worse, that's completely irrelevant to the point that I made. I've said time and time again that you should have at least enough integrity to honestly assess something. And just because you reach the same conclusion does not mean that I'm going to credit you or not call that junk out when you misanalyze things. So this is a prime example of what I'm talking about. Guy says, and this is a post of me, I'm kind of, joking around. Sebastian Shaw. This is a scene in, is this House of X or Powers of X? This is House of X. Last issue, issue 6, where the council is deciding, and they're kind of almost making an example of, they're making an example of someone. I can't even, losing my train of thought right now. And as they are doing so, they have the council trying to decide the laws, if you will, of this new nation. And Sebastian Shaw, first thing he mentions is property rights and such. Obviously, that's the core foundation of libertarianism. And this is what he says, right? And I post that, and I'm like, here we go. Look at this. Libertarianism confirmed. Now, the vast majority of people were like, oh, cool. And then you got this guy right here saying, House of X sucks. Powers of X sucks. It is just SJW garbage reinforcing segregation in 2019. First of all, those have absolutely nothing to do with each other. Segregation is not anything that's exclusive. If anything, that's not even what they want. SJWs, they don't want segregation. They're trying to infiltrate your stuff. It's not segregation that they generally want. Nonetheless, that's not whether they wanted it or didn't. That's not exclusive to them. Imagine making Mr. Sinister and Apocalypse good guys and having the heroes become depressed cultist villains. First of all, that ain't even what happened. Legit, all the nuance in X-Men turns into bad mutants and mutates good. But that's, first of all, the latter or the former isn't even what happened. They are, or the counselor, Mr. Sinister, Apocalypse. Yes, a lot of people, even Sebastian Shaw, obviously have been villains. But when Magneto's on it as well, Professor X is on it, just like them. So if they are made to be good guys, wouldn't that mean that Storm and everybody else on the council made to be good guys? Mystique, Jean Grey, who else was on this? Storm, Emma Frost. And you want to talk about somebody going from bad to good, good to bad. Emma Frost is like a prime example of that. So not only is he not even properly analyzing this story, it's almost like he didn't read it. Also, why does it matter the founder of the Hellfire Club is a libertarian dude? And that, like, that's the guy he's taking this entire comment up the butt. Like, holy crap. Nonetheless, this is what I'm talking about, y'all. If you don't like Powers of X, House of X, fine. Me personally, I have my criticisms of it, but overall, I think it's a nice little change of pace when it comes to going into, obviously, X-Men, the new run of X-Men. It's a nice little change of pace for the X-Men. I am not going to give you guys my entire thoughts because I'm saving that for a series of videos. But to sit here and call House of X and Powers of X, let me go back to me, the good-looking man, if I can real quick. But to call this and this House of X or Powers of X, SJW, is a complete lie. It's just not true. That is not what this is. This is not anything SJW. This is not SJW. To even, and the guy that we just looked at talking about segregate, yes, they become sort of this nationalistic entity, but it is what it is. I mean, what is Wakanda? You know what I'm talking about? What is generally every single planet with other countries that they visit? Like, what is like? Look, just to sit here and call this SJW is not true, man. It's not SJW. There's not anything SJW about this. It's just SJW garbage. But this is what I'm talking about, y'all. So y'all, they get all butthurt, dare I say, well, there's anti-social justice people that adopt some of the similar tactics as the opposite side. I'm not talking out about behind. Not only have I had to defend my positions because you got people that call me SJW. Oh, he's turning in SJW because he won't criticize us like I want him to. Like, dude, believe it or not, I know you can get to the right conclusion of something and completely lose it. Like, it happens, man. There are people out there like that. There are people out there when it comes to comic books, and I've seen this myself. It's a lot of people who jump on the wave that a lot of the YouTubers of the world were talking about, ridding this nonsense that's in the current comic book culture, right? Some individuals jumped on that because there was an opportunity for them to be mad at something, namely social justice. Fine. But much like the normies that try to hijack this, don't really read it. There's people on the opposite end that don't read it. And I'm not even saying one's just as bad as another. That's the one thing, for whatever reason, people hear. Even though I've never said anything of that nature, people hear that because, God forbid, you turn the mirror on them, man. One thing you should always expect here is that if I assess something, I've long thought about it, and I'm going to do it honestly. I'm not hopping on no wave. I'm not trying to be mad just to be mad. I'm not going to just try to say something to more so pander to a particular base, knowing that it's not my position, knowing it's not how I feel, but I know it gets clicks. That's not what you should be expecting at this page, bro. But like I said in my stream, namely because of the Captain Marvel stuff, I got lumped in with a lot of maybe YouTubers that just get mad just to get mad. So God forbid I don't react to freaking Batwoman like some people don't wanted me to act. They lose their mind. Why? Because they thought I was just their mouthpiece. Even though I have not changed my approach, I have not changed how I assess things. I have not changed how I analyze things. Before I go in on something, I always make sure I consume it first. I've not changed any of that. I watched my most popular video that I've ever done in terms of a vlog was on Supergirl, talking about that. It took me going in 2 full seasons before I going in the 3rd season, actually, if I'm not mistaken, before I ever made that video. So that's just a prime example of it. Even with Captain Marvel, go look at my videos. I didn't go in on it until really after the movie came out. I never tried to, before it came out, I never tried to say it's gonna be like this or anything like that. This is how I do things. I've not changed anything. But this guy right here was a great example of something to point out, in that there are people that are so up in arms and so upset at things that they can't even analyze things rationally. And I'm gonna be completely honest. When you go around saying crazy stuff like Powers of X and House of X is SJW garbage, you sound like you are crying wolf. Therefore, when other people, you're actually possibly making it difficult for other people who really are invested in this and want to rid it of this because you're not properly analyzing. If we can at least say, okay, look, that I don't like that. Here's why. Believe it or not, you can not like something and it not be SJW, right? You could not like something and it not be so. It could still be what you maybe consider bad, but also just because you on the other side you're conflating the two, right? Bad does not equal social justice, as in not everything that is bad is social justice. But I don't even think this is bad. But if you like it, don't like it, you think it's underwhelming, I've heard some people say that is perfectly fine. But you're not properly analyzing it. You're being unfair, not only to the Hickmans of the world, but you're being unfair to people that, again, like myself, who are invested in this and want to see this crap out of the industry, out of our fandoms, because you're just using the term willy-nilly to describe just about anything you don't like, which again is much like some of the SJWs who find things racist, sexist, and so forth, just because they didn't like the particular art, or like what happened in the art, or like how people analyze the art, or like who's in the art, right? That's what they do. Don't adopt the same tactics as them, man. Like, that does not help this situation. Good grief. Get a grip. Please get a grip.